Tēnā koutou katoa. Looking forward to this korero. We are 7 weeks out from the Aotearoa Men's Wellbeing Summit. 3 days of brotherhood, connection, diving into our purpose, bringing out our gifts, going on a journey to look into the highest version of ourselves. And I've got a awesome crew joining me to facilitate this upcoming event in Aotearoa, 14th to the 16th of May. 7 weeks' time. Hope you've got your ticket. And I'd like to welcome to this korero Jemarl Paerata. Welcome, brother.
Kia ora, bro. Pleasure to be here, and yeah, looking forward to the upcoming retreat. And yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me along for another round.
Yes, brother. So, Jemarl, you were there last year, and it's awesome to have you as part of the team co-creating this kaupapa. And thank you for agreeing to come along again this year, brother, and lead these men along with some of the other brothers that are coming back as well. Exciting to see many of the Tane that were there last year coming back for another round, and it's going to be really interesting to go around the circle and listen into everyone's journeys, what transformation might have come through in the last 12 months. And for some of us, that might not have all been like roses, right? Transformation can be up and down, can be a bit of a roller coaster. Stuff's got to fall away for new good things to come in. But it's been interesting seeing the ripples that were created last year. And maybe a good way to start, brother. Uh, we can have a talk about last year, but I'd like to hear just for those that don't know who you are, just give us a bit of background, brother, on where you're from and who you are.
Kia ora. Yeah, so ko ai au, Jemarl Paerata. I live here in Piha. He uri ahau, Ngāti Tuwhare Toa, down in Taupō. My hapu is Ngāti Te Kohera on my father's side, and on my mother's side, I'm Ngāti Mutunga from Taranaki, Urunui. I run a mentoring service out of Piha, where I work with a lot of rangatahi, a lot of our youth, guiding them, reconnecting them back to nature, looking into different ways of managing our emotions. And we do all sorts of really cool things, intention setting, setting a vision, goal setting. We get them moving. We cover off the fundamentals of health. So there's a real wide spectrum of what we do within our mahi. I also work with Dave Wood at Integrated Training, where we're working with a lot of corporates and athletes and everyday people looking to improve their overall health, well-being, and performance. And a lot of the mahi that we do there is around managing stress. A lot of it's around mindset and holistic health and looking after ourselves. So, yeah, I work with a lot of really cool people and work on some really fun projects that I'm passionate about, that I love. I was a full-time professional firefighter for close to 20 years. And in 2021, I decided to resign and head in this direction of helping people and being of service. And I made some massive changes myself. And I thought, well, a lot of the stuff I was just learning at a late age, and I made some big changes in my life. And I thought, well, if they could work for me, then maybe I could share them with others in the hope to get them to think about some of these tools, some of these practical applications, some of this knowledge that can help us head towards our full potential. And I know that this retreat coming up is one of the themes, or one of the main themes, is about what is your potential? What do you believe you can achieve? What are your beliefs around those around the direction you can head in, and what you actually think you can achieve. So yeah, just really grateful to have been invited to help out in last year's retreat, which was life-changing for me. And I can speak to to the changes that it helped for me, and some of the doors that opened after that event. But yeah, I am really grateful and excited to be coming along this year, and yeah, jumping on board with the team, and yeah, helping as many tāne as we can, sharing some ideas, sharing some stories, sharing some lived experience that can hopefully help others um, head in that direction, I suppose, of their full potential. And that's the aim and the goal.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Uh, I'm a big believer in following the tohu, the breadcrumbs.
Mm.
And like before last year, I some of those breadcrumbs led me to you. So I think one of the first posts I put up about the summit, someone it might have been Josh Darby from he's works in the fire service, and he tagged you in, and I looked you up, and then Tia and I were over in Piha and grabbing a coffee down near the beach, and all of a sudden you and Dave pop up in front of me with a group of Tane, I think from a construction company, and I saw you and I was like, yeah, and then you keep popping up, and I'm like, I got to give the bro a call. Yeah,
Thank you.
and yeah, thank you for being a part of last year, the first summit, and it was a powerful event I know for a lot of Tane, transformational, and the energy and the wider that was there was something special, and that's part of this co-creation and collaboration we can step into as men. Quite often, as men, were can be the lone wolf, carry all the weight on our shoulders, the competitor, and one of the special speakers we had there last year, Anna Rubinstein, speaks about really stepping into manhood as stepping into collaboration, and that was a big theme of last year. Thank you for stepping into that. Tell me, bro, what was one of the highlights for you last year?
Oh, there was a few, and look, just to backtrack a little bit, attending that retreat last year was a highlight. I had a few big highlights last year,
Mm,
but being involved and being a part of that retreat was something really special and transformational for me, and I made some connections there, some real strong ones, and it led me to Byron Bay. It led me to
mm,
Whangaroa, and it led me on these other paths where I connected with Tane from the retreat. And so, yeah, the whole retreat itself was a big highlight. I suppose one of the main highlights for me, was meeting other Tane there, like-minded, interested in the same things that I am.
mm,
Obviously, Anna, meeting him was really special, and I I went over and attended a couple of his leadership course with him and one of his camps for young boys. So that was a real highlight, actually connecting with him, and then also meeting Tiaki and going down to his rites of passage, and Te Ao Māori inspired rites of passage in Whangaroa for young tāne, tamatane. But during the retreat, the biggest highlight for me was on the last day. And so we gathered all this information, we gathered all of this knowledge from everyone, really. Not just the instructors, but from all the men. And then we got up really early on the last day,
mm,
and we hiked up the Maunga in the dark. We all went up there and we sat there together in silence, waiting for Tamanui Te Rata to come up, and just sitting there in the dark, and slowly watching the sunrise. I'll never forget that. And for me, that was a tohu
mm,
saying, look, here's all this amazing information. Here's all these amazing tāne. You've been guided here, and now you've got all this knowledge. For me, sitting on that hill was about what are you going to do with it moving forward,
Mm,
and visioning or coming up with some sort of vision for the next year and how I was going to move from the retreat itself and put all of this knowledge into action. Because really, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't action or integrate that knowledge into your day-to-day life and head in a direction and take action,
mm,
then it's going to be really hard. Or it's actually not as beneficial if you don't do anything. It's probably worthless, like to have all that stuff. But the real key is to take action. So I made a point of coming up with a plan of action. And yeah, I'm pretty happy to say that I ticked all those boxes off, and here I am today, ready to kind of launch into another round. And I'm excited to see where it takes me. And like I said, I was asked to go down there and facilitate a couple of sessions, and I did that. But I also, for me, it was quite transformational, and I got a lot out of that retreat. So yeah, again, I'm really excited to get stuck in and to open up and to learn as much as I can. Yeah, moving forward.
awesome, brother. Thank you. Yeah. Uh, Thank you for reflecting on the sunrise, Tamanui Te Rā, coming over the horizon
Mhm.
from Maunga Wahine, the summit. And yeah, that beautiful metaphor, the actual summit,
Mhm.
the hikoi to the top of the maunga. And like we say at the summit, you got to do the foundation, set the foundations, which a lot of men have done, right? They've got the foundations, they've done the hard mahi, but to get to the top, sometimes you got to let a bit of that go and focus on what's the peak, what's the pinnacle, especially as you
Mhm.
grow older. What's the pinnacle? What's the purpose? And I think coming into this next summit, we've descended down the Maunga, gone into the valley, back to our lives, back to our communities, back to our whānaus, been back in the valley, back at ground level. So it's time to come back together and reflect on what are the highlights been, what are the challenges been, and how do we come together and share some wisdoms, share some knowledge, help each other out. I know, like yourself, like myself, like some of the other brothers that are coming along, like Rob Mukaraka, for example, delivered a powerful kaupapa last year. And it's a chance for us to extend the invite. If there's any other brothers around Aotearoa doing this mahi, awhiing other people in their community, this is a chance to come and rub shoulders with others that understand the weight you carry, come back into Te Ao, especially the brothers that are doing this work in an urban environment, right? Come out to the Coromandel, take those shoes off, put them on the golden sand, get in the moana, wash some of that weight off. Te Ao's powerful healer, yeah, powerful teacher. And that's, I guess, why we structure this event, this summit, this gathering or conference to dive into hauora, especially how it relates to men, but do it in the natural environment. We've got the Ngāhere there as a witness, the ocean as a witness, and you'd probably agree with me here, brother, that that's where the work is to be done. Yeah, that's where the healing takes place. Tell me
Mhm.
your experience with the work you do and how nature is a great healer.
Yeah, well, obviously, when we're out in Te Ao, or when we're up in the Ngāhere or along the coastline, and we're talking about our nervous system, the red and the blue being upregulated, being in that fight or flight
Mm,
part of division of our nervous system, where a lot of us live in urban environments. We've got the mortgage, we've got work, we've got all these things being a tāne. There's lots of responsibilities around the family. we are just constantly living in that red zone. And so the real power of Te Tai Ao, or being out in nature, it's one of the most powerful ways to move down into that blue zone, into that parasympathetic part of your nervous system. And when we are down in the blue zone, we can think clearly, creatively. We're open to ideas, we can vision, we can set some intentions, and it's a really cool space to be in. And not only that, physically grounding, taking your shoes off,
Mm,
grounding with the whenua. And that's why I think a lot of power in the mahi that I do out here in Piha. One of our biggest strengths is this amazing coastline here, the black iron sand that was, millions of years ago, lava that spewed out of Taranaki and washed all the way up here. And we've got Te Ao Rehua just out there, that unruly body of water. There's a lot of energy coming out there, and it can be unruly and unforgiving, but at times it can be playful and calm, and it's just an amazing place to be. And we've got the Waitakere Ranges up the back, so we've got this big melting pot of Te Ao. And I think that is one of the most powerful things that we have in our favor with all the work that we do. So yeah, and like I said, it's one of the most powerful ways to move down into that blue zone. And when you're in that blue zone, you can think clearly and creatively. When you're up in that red zone, the thinking narrows. That amygdala's popping off from all the adrenaline and cortisol, and it's in the bloodstream. The heart rate's up. But when we're down into that blue zone, we can calm down. We can slow the breathing, slow the heart rate, and we can be a little bit more open to learning. And
mm,
I think that's a really powerful, it's really powerful for our rangatahi as well, because not everyone can learn in the conventional setup of a university or a school and being in this environment, urban environment, and people are just way more open to settling down and relaxing and thinking a little bit clearer when you're out in the ngahere. And it's you never go for a walk along the beach and come back and don't feel good, or go up into the ngahere and then come back and you're not feeling good. And just, we have adapted to being in urban environments. We've adapted to all these different ways of living, being behind a desk all day, sitting down, and that complacent adaptation of how to do things. But it's up to us to think creatively around, hey, how can I get my little bit of uh, te tai ao sessions in every week? How can I get out? Where can I go? Might be the park. You might be in Tamaki near the harbour, and you can go down and sit by the wharf and look at the ocean and look out into the Hauraki Gulf, and try and calm yourself down those ways. So you have to be creative with how you want to, with how you can get that fix, because we were really made to be out here in nature. We weren't made to be in there doing all that stuff, and we've adapted to that, which is really cool. But yeah, take the shoes off, go down to the park, sit in the park, do some breath work, maybe some meditation, get creative with how you can get your little fill of being out in nature. And the other really, this I'm sort of veering off here a little bit, but the other really powerful way to move from the red zone down into the blue zone is to come together
mm,
and to be together and to work together, kotahitanga. And so there's real power in coming together, being a little bit vulnerable. Uh, but there's a certain limit to that, I think. But being a little bit vulnerable together, and and working together to figure this stuff out, so that we're not isolated and we're on our own and we're in this urban environment and we've got all this pressure and we're just sort of sticking to ourselves, and it can get quite difficult when you're by yourself and you're isolated. So that's why this retreat is so powerful and needed for a lot of our tāne.
mm,
I have real trouble asking for help. There's a real thing there for us to ask for help, especially when we're struggling. But I think there is real power in coming together, and that's why I'm, yeah, that's why I'm really excited for this retreat that's coming up and getting together with these tāne.
Awesome, brother.
Mm.
The power of community, whanaungatanga, the circle, everything in everything in nature. Nothing in nature happens in a straight line. It's all in a spiral or a circle.
Mm.
And it's a reminder to us to come back to the circle around the ahi, and where, you know, you talked about vulnerability. Sometimes we can't be vulnerable with around everyone. You know, you've got to come into a space you can trust. So part of what we're creating is a safe space where you can speak from the heart. You might be able to talk about things that you have not previously been able to talk to, get stuff off your chest, and
Mm.
nothing, knowing that nothing leaves the group, and knowing you're going to be held by some po to work through anything that comes up. Uh, I love your reflections there, brother, on Te Ao, your especially your backyard, and out west
Mm.
and out east. This week, I had the pleasure of hosting some tāne from Manurewa Marae, and you know, just saw the beautiful transformation of some of the brothers that were a bit nervous, bit anxious coming on the first day, and a few of them have never been on a boat, never been in the moana, never been snorkeling.
Wow.
Put some wetsuits on them and sent them on their merry way, floating around with the snorkel, and it was hard to get them back on the boat. And Tia just noticed about 2 days later, a couple of them, she's like, man, there's been a shift, a massive shift, and just how powerful nature is for transformation and healing and just washing things off. But also a great teacher as well. Like the moana wasn't that calm or flat this week. It was a bit rough. So we had a bit of a punch out to Ruamahua, the Alderman Islands. And yeah, it was pretty rough the first half of the way out. But as we got closer and closer and closer and closer, the waters just calmed off as we got in the lee of the islands. And said to the Tane, you know, this is a bit of a metaphor. When the waters are rough, look for the po, look for the safe passage, look for those rocks, you know, those rocks that are actually in the community, especially the safe places like the marae that you can go to. And yeah, the safe places, the sacred places with the wise people that you can go and find that shelter. So nature always has these metaphors, like the summit.
Mm.
Yeah. What does the next 7 weeks look like for you, brother, in the lead up to the summit?
Um, well, I'm off to Whanganui on Sunday, this Sunday, 2 days, and we're taking ropu of Rangatahi from Mount Albert Grammar down the Whanganui Awa, which is going to be really cool. We're going to spend the next 4 days down there, so I'm really excited to get involved with that mahi, and I've been doing some really cool things with that school and helping them on camps and taking them through some breathwork sessions. We've been taking them surfing, getting them up in the Ngahere, so that's been really cool. So I've got that coming up. We have some corporate workshops that are coming up with Dave and integrated training. So that's going to be pretty cool. I've got a keynote coming up, and then also I've got a little workshop that I'm doing for Starship Hospital. So I got a few little different avenues of things that are happening, but I suppose the biggest event that's coming up is the big surfing competition down in Whangaroa. And my son's been home for summer. He's just gone back to Australia for a week, but he'll be heading down there to compete in the King of the Point. And so whoever wins that surfing competition there will get a shot at going in the main event for the WCT. So I've been helping him along the way with his training and getting the video out and videoing him. So yeah, that's a pretty big goal, or that's a pretty big event that's coming up in our family. So yeah, and I mean, it's been really good for our community, the surfing community. It's brought them all close together. We went down to Raglan last week, and it was a real buzz. And we're catching up with old friends, and we've got legends like Maz Quinn coming out of the woodwork, and caught up with DK down there on the point. So yeah, real cool to see that event coming to Aotearoa. And yeah, we're just looking forward to hopefully a big swell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Sounds like an exciting lead into the summit. Sounds like your cup's full, brother.
Mm.
And yeah, I look forward to hearing about your journey down the Whanganui River. And I was fortunate to get down there last year, actually, in between this last year's summit and this year's summit. I had a little goal and to try out a bit of martial arts because something I've never experienced and something I thought about at last year's summit. We talk about Tane being the provider, the protector, the keeper of knowledge, but I'm like that protector bit. I've never really done anything like martial arts, and the bro Te Ururangi,
Mm.
the wānanga out at Te Ao Māori next to the Awa, and I reached out to him and said, "Bro, do I need to have any jujitsu experience?" He's like, "No, no, no, just come along." And that first evening, I'm like, "Whoa, maybe I should have done a bit more training, or maybe gone to a few classes beforehand, rolling around with some brown belts and black belts." But what a beautiful spot that marae is, Te Aho. You have to call in while you're down there, brother.
Yeah, he's doing some cool stuff, eh? I follow him a bit,
Yeah,
and I've
yeah,
seen his mahi, and he's putting some really awesome stuff out into the world.
yeah, there's every chance a few of the brothers might travel up from there. So
Mm.
stay tuned.
Kia
So
ora.
thank you, brother, for the korero. And this is an invite to any of the Tane listening in. If you've liked some of the things we've had a korero about and want to know more, feel free to reach out. We'd love to see you in a Potiri, 14th to 16th of May, for a beautiful celebration of grounded masculinity. Three three days of connection out in Te Ao, and look forward to seeing you there. Grab a ticket, brothers. Don't miss out. Make sure you make sure you're there. It's going to be powerful. Thanks, Jemarl. Go well, brother. Enjoy your next 7 weeks, and I'll see you at the summit.
Ngā mihi, bro. Thanks for the good work, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Ngā mihi, bro.